Today I want to talk about video game addiction and tell my story, and then and only then I want to answer the question, can it ruin your life? My first video game addiction came in the form of World of Warcraft. I began playing WoW when it launched in 2004, which would make me like 17 or 18 at the time. It was right when I was supposed to go to college and become an adult. It consumed me. I would sit in my room all day, every day, and this continued for years. I shrugged off the idea of ever going to college because I felt like I wouldn't have enough time to play my, orc warrior, and I fell into a really dark place. World of Warcraft ruined my motivation to leave home, finish college, and it ruined the relationship I had with a really lovely girl, actually, that I had been dating for 4 years prior to starting the game. Eventually, I was thrown out of my home by my mother, who could no longer support a guy who had no intention of living in the real world. Coming out of my room only to grab food, I was pasty, skinny, unhealthy, a sulking mess of a human being. I had no friends, no future, and no money. I spent it all on my monthly subscription to World of Warcraft. Getting thrown out of my home, standing on the curb in the rain, with my bags sitting on the lawn was one of the biggest wake-up calls I probably ever had, and to this day ever have had. I was scared, I was lonely, and I just had no place to go. I had $400 to my name and my gas tank was empty, so I went to the only place I really could. I drove across town to a local casino where I had played 1-2 no limit to pick up some cash to pay on the reg for my WoW subscription. For the next 2 weeks, I gambled my way enough to afford a $67 hotel room each night. In the days that I lost, I slept in my car in the freezing cold winter outside in the parking lot. As I stared into the cold night, shivering, I reflected at how I came to be at this very moment. Hungry, broke, and sad, and very, very cold. It was video game addiction that I let carry me to this very dark and lonely place.
Like many girls out there today, I have a boyfriend who is constantly playing video games. I mean, it's like 10 hours a day. It's ridiculous. Well, I'm sick of being bored. And I bitch, and still his routine remains constant. So now I feel like I need to do something drastic to get my point across. So let this be a lesson to all you video game addicts out there who are ignoring your girlfriends. Cause she just might be a little crazy.
Xbox piece of shit, playing Call of Duty right now, look at him. All his friends, doesn't ever want to spend time with me anymore.
His friend has a lightsaber.
Today I am making a video to send my idiot boyfriend a message.
My experience is with people that we're probably running at about 51% of our capacity. You can think about this yourselves. I often ask undergraduates how many hours a day you waste or how many hours a week you waste. And the classic answer is something like 4 to 6 hours a day. Inefficient studying, watching things on YouTube that not only do you not want to watch, that you don't even care about, that make you feel horrible about watching after you're done. That's probably 4 hours right there. You think, well, that's 25 hours a week, it's 100 hours a month, that's 2.5 full work weeks, it's half a year of work weeks per year. And if your time is worth $20 an hour, which is a radical underestimate, it's probably more like 50 if you think about it in terms of deferred wages. If you're wasting 20 hours a week, you're wasting $50,000 a year. And you are doing that right now. And it's because you're young, wasting $50,000 a year is a way bigger catastrophe than it would be for me to waste it, because I'm not going to last nearly as long. And so if your life isn't everything it could be, you could ask yourself, well, what would happen if you just stopped wasting the opportunities that are in front of you? You'd be who knows how much more efficient. 10 times more efficient. 20 times more efficient. That's the Pareto distribution. You have no idea how efficient people get. It's completely, it's off the charts.
The separation of talent and skill is one of the greatest misunderstood concepts for people who are trying to excel, who have dreams, that want to do things. Talent you have naturally. Skill is only developed by hours and hours and hours of beating on your craft. And, you know, for me, I feel like I have a relationship with the audience. They agree that they're going to go in droves, and I agree that every time they go, it's going to be better than the last time. So I think that's part of the relationship, and I'm going to hold up my part as long as they keep holding up theirs.
You have to enjoy it. If you don't enjoy it, you're not going to be a good student. And that's the most important thing that I did in my own education, is that I really convinced myself to enjoy a lot of the studying that I did. I was very intrinsically motivated, and so that just worked out really well for me. And then I took this principle of repetition. And when I saw that, oh man, I can literally program anything I want into my mind, it's just so dumb. It's so simple the way that it works. There's nothing fancy behind it. There's no magic behind it. Then I'm like, oh damn, I have all the tools I need to learn whatever I want. And at that point, it just becomes a matter of discipline and practice. Discipline and practice. Discipline and practice.
So the only thing you need to know right now, the point is not to avoid the pain, and you need to stop asking yourself, what's the least you can do to get good? And you need to start asking yourself, what's the most you can bear to become great? Once you understand that the whole point is to let the suffering and the pain harden you into becoming the version of yourself that you need to become in order to execute at the highest level, to be world class at anything, and stop avoiding it, stop being afraid of it, and start understanding for what it really is, which is the thing that shapes you. So my entire youth, I feared pain. I moved away from pain. If something was emotionally or physically difficult, I avoided it. And I remember being in the gym one day and going, mother, will you stop asking, like, what's the least you need to do to consider it a full week workout? Because it was like, could I stop now? Could I stop now? Could I stop now? And I was like, do you want the muscles, or do you want to like put on a show that you showed up? Like, you showed up, right? Like, because the muscles demand what the muscles demand. Like, you have to break them down, you have to push, you have to do more. Like, so it is purely a question of how much you're willing to bear, because there's never going to be enough. You could have always done more.
It's decide, commit, and resolve. Some of you, in the past, you've gotten momentum, you've gotten passionate, you've even made a decision, but a decision is the first step. Decision is like a war. I got to do this or that. All right, I'm going to make myself do this. But commitment is when you now, after you've decided, you commit to do this for the long term. Whether it's hard or easy, doesn't matter. You're doing this. It takes it from this moment and it carries it into the future even when things are difficult. And the third state is resolve. Resolve means it's done. It's like, it doesn't even if you took action, it's done inside you, so it's done out there. There's no question whatsoever. Then once you decide, the only way the commitment and the energy and the momentum continues is if you take immediate, massive what, my friends? Massive what? Write down in your notes, massive action is the cure-all. Massive action is the cure-all. If you're having a difficult time with something, your relationship isn't where you want it to be, your finances are not where you want to be, your body's not where you want to be, your business is not where you want to be, you need to take massive action. And if that doesn't work, try something else. If that doesn't work, try something else. Keep going with massive action and you will find the way, because it will give you momentum.
Look what I got.
go.
Yo, what the fuck are you doing, yo? What are you doing? Stop, yo. What the fuck is your problem?
You know this is. You! I swear to you!
There were 9 amazing things that I've noticed have changed in my life since I have quit video games. Number 1 is I am no longer in a rush. Number 2 is deciding to take action on important things becomes a lot easier. Like managing my health or cleaning my room, getting rid of the bed behind me in order to change my life habits have just been a lot easier because there's no longer that blockade of I want to play video games. Number 3 is more family time. The family time that I have becomes a lot more precious and I become a lot more appreciative of it because I don't feel like it's a hindrance to me anymore. Without the habit of video games anymore, you're gonna have a lot more time. I remember putting an X amount of hours into video games because I had to do a daily challenge for this game, daily challenge for that game, daily challenge for that game. That's no longer there, and I realized I need to fill that time with perhaps focusing on my homework. For me, it was actually more focusing on my health. I started going to the gym more, I started going outside, doing more running, and for me it was actually working on this YouTube channel and creating more videos and more content as one of the new habits that I picked up, and I'm happier now that I'm doing those things. Number 5 is better sleep. Because remember I said the first thing I would do when I'd wake up is I would say Xbox on. Well, I wouldn't say been sleeping in, but when I've been waking up, my morning routine has been a lot more calmer, and I've actually been starting to wake up sooner. Number 6, that's a very poorly drawn 6, I know. Playing video games at social gatherings becomes a lot more fun. I've been to a couple social gatherings throughout the month, and there was Smash Brothers that we played, there was Mario Party that we played, and there was a VR headset that I got to play with and have a lot of fun. And I became a lot more appreciative when I did play those games with my friends because it felt a lot more relaxing and social to do. And I feel like giving up video games for a month actually helped me regain the feeling of enjoying video games again for the video games that they are, not for the achievement points or for the titles that you get for beating your friends. Number 7 is you just appreciate life more. You realize that there's no longer another virtual you. The only you that there is the one right here that you're working on in real life. And you start noticing the trees more. You start noticing the springtime, how the leaves are growing, how the leaves fall down during the winter, and you really just start noticing all the finer details of life, and you start appreciating them a lot more. You got a new character to love and respect, and that is your own body, and that has just been the greatest thing ever is learning how to fall in love with yourself all over again. Had a lot of fun with. And that is the willingness to try new things, because you're going to get new habits, you're going to have a lot more free time, and because of that, I decided to change my mindset just a little bit and get out of my comfort zone. One of the things I did is I went to a heavy metal concert. I've never been to a concert before in my life, and heavy metal is the last music I'd probably be listening to. But I did that, it was a leap of faith, and I had a lot of fun, and I would not take that experience back for anything. And it's just something that you're going to start doing without playing a lot of video games, is you're gonna start saying yes to a lot of other things to fill that void of time that you don't have anymore. And number 9, the one thing that everybody loves is you're gonna have more money.